foolishly didn't really pay attention to what time I started. Am I close to half an hour? Like, what time?
You started around on the hour.
On the hour? Okay, I've still got, okay, oh, all right.
Oh, it was 5 to the hour.
5-2? Okay, so I do another 300 poems and I'll be done. Won't take more than an hour and a half. Okay, well this is a poem that I always like reading because it's sort of funny, and I think Candace has heard this one before. It begins with a note that was in the Vancouver Sun, August 3rd, 2012. A Vancouver resident has been fined for trying to smuggle a suitcase full of songbirds into the city from China. The poem's called Suitcase Full of Birds. 9 and 20 old world birds, chosen for their intonation, a mix of babblers and flycatchers, melodious laughing thrushes, red-billed leothrix, and oriental magpie robins. He sedated and wrapped each in a sock, then slipped them into carry-on luggage, lined up like keys on a piano, dreaming melodies and harmony of morning light and fragrant breeze. On the aircraft, he lifted his case carefully into an overhead compartment with other bags. Who knows what might have been in them? Souvenirs, photographs of family, a jacket, a pair of silk pajamas. He made no sound while the birds slept across the Pacific. They had no passports or travel plans. Flying without flying, the irony not available to them until the bag was opened and they began to sing. Lots of birds. Okay. This is kind of a prose poem where I read a short piece by somebody about the value of reading poems, like for writers to read their own poems, and I changed it slightly, so this is called By Reading. So I've changed almost everywhere where it said poem in the original thing I put in city. By reading their city out loud, the poets bring the city to life. Then they can all make a space together out of which arises an aliveness for the listeners. If the poets adore their poems, their listeners will hear their affection as much as any torment or insight they might be expressing. When even the city becomes an object of admiration, now and then intensity erupts, and listeners are able to hear the language of the poet's city as their own. Reading someone else's poem aloud requires the reader to create the being of the city as well, to connect through the vividness of the images, the sideways rhythms, the revealing irony, the march or drift of meaning, the jump to populate a particular world, enlivened with possibilities previously unglimpsed. Understanding the sense of a city is only one way to be enraptured by poetry. Good readers learn to love the poems and consequently to love the city. Connection by affection is the way the poems stream out and vibrating make a claim on ever-vanishing time. The poems want to be said out loud. They can be experienced and grasped when read silently, but when spoken, then the reader's body comes forward into play. The city arises in this way, pulse and breath from the reader, allure and itch from the poem, the city from the city. I think New West is a city that is very nicely spoken out loud. Lots of things happening. So I'll just read one more poem. Sorry, Chuck's anxious to
No,
get me
it's
in.
all good. I thought you were done.
I know. Okay. Let's see. I'll read just one more poem, the title poem from this book, The Song Collides with the Exit. The song has no title. It breathes all the oxygen in the room, but that's all right. We sing along anyway, if we know what's good for us. The song has no molecules, can't be held in our hands or passed around for a closer look. A tumbler of cold water waits on a table, frosted glass on mahogany, while the song takes its own sweet, sweet occupation of our thoughts. In the meantime, we languish, rest in a chair, perhaps, near the table and the drink. This is our job, we believe. Humming the melody, this is what's expected of us. The song changes pitch and we think, ah yes, modulation, happy that we know the word, what it means. We think this knowledge makes us wiser than birds who only sing but have no dictionaries. But the room is much too warm, stuffy, like a sweater in August. We begin to drift, heads slowly droop and snap back up, but not for long, as these actions repeat. The song relocates to the background, like Mr. Satie's furniture. And we wake for only a moment, noticing for the first time the flowering wisteria in the garden outside. Too late to respond as the song crashes through the exit, loud as a drum kit dropped down a stairwell, takes us along shouting ineffectually, "No thanks, not now, not me," wishing we'd been following more closely, or at least had made up some words to that last chorus ourselves. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.